For this problem, we're going to be using the distributive property. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 3 times 5 plus 3 times 6. Then we're going to simplify it to 15 plus 18, and you are going to get 33 as your final answer. For this problem, we are also going to be using the distributive property, but there are 2 ways you can do it. So here's the first way. The first way is you can do negative 12 times 6 plus negative 12 times 4. To simplify that, you'll get negative 72 plus negative 48. Your final answer will be negative 120. Okay, so now the second way is you can do 6 plus 4, which is 10, times negative 12, which will give you negative 120.
For this problem, we will be combining like terms. So 4x and 7x are both like terms, and 8 and 3 are both like terms. So we need to add 4x plus 7x, which gives you 11x. Then we need combined 8 plus 3, which equals 11. Then you need to add 11x plus 11, which you can't do because they are not like terms. So then your answer will be at 11x plus 11.
For this problem, you are also going to be combining like terms. So our like terms here are negative 3x and negative 6x, and 7 and 9. So you have to take negative 3x plus negative 6x, which is going to give you negative 9x. Then you have to add 7 and 9, which is going to give you 16. Now you have to add these 2 together, but you can't because they're not like terms. So your answer will be negative 9x plus 16. For this problem, we are going to be subtracting, but there are a few steps that we have to do. So first, you're going to take negative 2x minus 1, and you're going to change it so that it says negative 2x plus negative 1. Then you're going to do the same for x minus 7. You're going to change it to x plus negative 7. But we still have this subtraction sign that we have to change. So we're going to change to an addition sign, and then we're going to change x plus negative 7 to negative x plus positive 7. Now we have to add together the like terms. So our first set of like terms would be negative 2x plus negative x, which equals negative 3x. Then we're going to add together negative 1 plus 7, which equals 6. Now we would have to add together these 2 numbers, but since they're not like terms, our final answer will be negative 3x plus 6. In this problem, we're also subtracting. So we need to change 6x minus 8 to 6x plus negative 8. And now because 9x plus 5 already has an addition sign in it, we do not need to change it. But we have this subtraction sign. So we need to change this to an addition sign, and then we need to change everything to the right of it, which would make 6x plus negative 8 change into negative 6x plus positive 8. Now we need to take all the like terms and add them together. So that would be negative 6x plus 9x, which gives you 3x, and then we need to take 8 plus 5, which gives you 13. Now, we would add these 2 numbers together, but we can't because they're not like terms. So our final answer is going to be 3x plus 13. In this problem, we are going to be subtracting. But instead of subtracting just whole numbers, we're going to be subtracting fractions, mixed numbers, and whole numbers. So, first we have to change our subtraction sign into an addition sign, which is going to make 2/3 x plus 4 into negative 2/3 x plus negative 4. Now I have to find a equivalent fraction for negative 5/6 x and negative 2/3 x. Now, I can see right away that 3 and 6 both go into 6, so our common denominator is going to be 6. Now, to get from 3 to 6, I have to multiply 3 by 2, and then I also have to do what I do to the bottom to the top, so 2 times 2 is going to give me 4, so I will get negative 4/6x. Now, getting from 6 to 6, I just have to multiply by 1, and what I do to the bottom, I have to do the top, so 5 times 1 gives me 5, and I get negative 5/6x. Now I have to add these two together, and I get negative 9/6x. Now, 6 can go into 9 once with 3 left over, so I get negative 1 3/6x, which that can be simplified to negative 1 1/2 x. Okay, so now that we've added together negative 5/6x and negative 2/3 x, I'm going to cross them out so that I know that I already did them. And remember, when we add those two together, we got negative 1.5 x. Now we're going to focus on 5.5 and negative 4. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add 5.5 to negative 4. And when you add those two together, you get 1.5. Now, I get 1.5 because when you add negative numbers to positive numbers, you have to go backwards into the negative direction. And so it's like you're taking 5 minus 4, which you get 1, and then you get 1.5 because there is no other fraction to add 1/2 to. So we would have to add negative 1.5x to 1.5. But we can't because they're not like terms, so our final answer will be negative 1.5x plus 1 1/2. In this problem, we are going to be factoring, and when you factor, you have to find the greatest common factor. So, the greatest common factor of 5x and 5 is going to be 5. And we're going to put that on the outside of our parentheses. And now we're going to take 5x and divide it by 5. And you're going to get 1x, which is equal to just x. We're going to put that inside our parentheses, plus whatever the answer is to 5 divided by 5. And 5 divided by 5 gives us 1. So we're going to put 1 on the inside of our parentheses. So if you wanted to factor 5x plus 5, you would get 5 times x plus 1. In this problem, we're also going to be factoring. So like we did in the last problem, we have to find the greatest common factor of both numbers. The greatest common factor of 18x and 6 is 3. We're going to put that on the outside of our parentheses. Now we're going to do 18x divided by 3, and that's going to give us 6x, which we're going to put inside the parentheses. Now we have to take 6 divided by 3, and that's going to give us 2. We're also going to put the 2 inside the parentheses, and we're also going to add a addition sign, so you're adding 6x to 2. So if you wanted to factor 18x plus 6, you're going to get 3 times 6x plus 2 as your final answer. Now we're going to be factoring fractions and whole numbers. So first we have to find out what 1/2 x means, and it means 1/2 times x. Now we have to see what can be multiplied by 1/2 to get 4. So we're going to turn it into a division problem. It's going to be 4 over 1, or 4, divided by 1/2. half. But we have to change it into a multiplication problem, so it's going to be 4 over 1 times 2 over 1, and that's going to give you 8 over 1, or 8. So 1/2 can be multiplied by 8 over 1, or 8, to give you 4. So we're going to use 1/2 as the number on the outside of the parentheses. So it's going to be 1/2 times x plus 8. Now, if you wanted to factor 1/2 x plus 4, you're going to get 1/2 times x plus 8 as your final answer.